It usually starts as something small. You're scrolling, just passing time, and you see it. Someone your age, maybe even someone you know. New car, better apartment, a trip that looks effortless. They don't say much about it. They don't need to. You see enough. And for a moment, it doesn't feel like jealousy. It feels like awareness, like you've just been reminded of where you stand. And suddenly, what felt fine a few minutes ago doesn't feel the same anymore. Your place feels smaller. Your progress feels slower. Your decisions feel questionable. Nothing actually changed, but internally, everything did. We don't talk about this enough, but comparison is one of the quietest ways money slips through your hands. Not in big, obvious ways, in small, emotional ones. Because comparison doesn't usually tell you to spend. It just makes you feel like you should be somewhere else. And that feeling is expensive. Most people think financial problems come from poor discipline or lack of knowledge, but often they come from something much more subtle, a shifting standard. You weren't trying to overspend. You weren't trying to impress anyone. You were just trying to close a gap that didn't exist until you saw it. The difficult part is that comparison feels rational. You tell yourself you're just being aware, staying motivated, keeping up. But under the surface, something else is happening. Your definition of enough is changing, quietly, without you deciding it. And once enough moves, everything else starts adjusting around it. Think about how this plays out in real life. You were okay with your phone until you saw a newer one. You didn't mind your routine until someone else's looked more exciting. You felt stable until you realized others seemed to be moving faster. None of these thoughts are extreme. They're subtle, but they create pressure. Not external pressure. Internal. And internal pressure is harder to ignore. So what do you do with that feeling? Most of the time you respond to it. Not dramatically, not all at once, just small adjustments. You upgrade something a little earlier than planned. You say yes to something you would have normally skipped. You stretch your budget just slightly to feel more aligned. Each decision, on its own, feels reasonable. But together, they start to shift your financial direction. This is what makes comparison so expensive. It doesn't drain your money instantly. It redirects it away from your priorities towards someone else's timeline. And the tricky part is, you don't even realize it's happening. Because from the outside, your life still looks normal. You're not overspending wildly. You're not making reckless decisions. You're just adjusting, trying to keep up with a standard that keeps moving. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The standard will always move. There will always be someone earning more, spending more, doing more. There's no stable version of keeping up. Because the moment you reach one level, your reference point changes, and the cycle starts again. This isn't really about money, it's about identity. Where you feel you stand, what you feel you deserve, how you measure progress. And when those things are influenced by what you see around you, your decisions stop being fully yours. They become reactions. That's the part that costs the most. Not just the money, but the loss of clarity. Because when you're constantly comparing, it becomes harder to know what you actually want, what matters to you, versus what just looks good. There's a subtle shift that changes everything. It's not about avoiding comparison completely. That's not realistic. You're always going to see what others are doing. The shift is in how much authority you give it. Right now, for most people, comparison feels like information, something to consider, something that influences decisions. But what if it didn't? What if it was just observation, without direction? Imagine seeing someone else's lifestyle and not immediately relating it to your own, not turning it into a measurement, just noticing it and moving on. That doesn't mean you stop caring about progress. It means your progress becomes internally defined. This is the turning point, when your financial decisions stop being responses and start becoming choices. You begin asking different questions, not "why don't I have that?" but "do I actually want that?" Not "am I behind?" but "what pace makes sense for my life?" And those questions slow things down. They create space between what you see and what you do. In that space, something important happens. You start noticing how often comparison was driving your behavior. How many decisions were slightly influenced by what others were doing. Not entirely, just enough. And once you see that, it becomes easier to step back. In practical terms, this doesn't mean you stop enjoying things. It doesn't mean you stop improving your life. It just means your upgrades become intentional. You spend because it adds value to you, not because it reduces a feeling. You might delay certain purchases, not because you can't afford them, but because you want to be sure they're actually yours. You might say no more often, not out of restriction, but out of clarity. And slowly, something shifts. The pressure starts to fade. Not completely, but noticeably, because you're no longer trying to match a moving target. You're following something more stable. Your own priorities, your own pace, your own version of enough. And that creates a different kind of financial experience, one that feels calmer, more controlled, less reactive. Because at the end of the day, money isn't just about what you earn or spend. It's about the decisions behind those actions. And comparison quietly influences more of those decisions than most people realize. So if you've ever felt like you're doing okay, until you see someone else doing better, there's nothing wrong with you. That reaction is normal, but it's also something you can step away from. Not by ignoring the world, but by grounding yourself in your own. You don't need to match someone else's timeline to make progress. You don't need to upgrade your life to prove anything. You just need a clear understanding of what actually matters to you. Because once you have that, comparison loses its power. And without that constant pressure, your money starts staying where it's meant to, working toward your life, not someone else's. You don't have to rush. You don't have to catch up. You just have to stay aligned. And that's a much quieter, but much more sustainable way to move forward.